It's no use coming second today. It's boat race day.
Go. Heads.
And you joined us on the tideway here at Putney straight away for the toss of the famous gold sovereign coin. It's now being picked up, as you see.
Coin shows tails, therefore the choice lies with the holders.
Choice with the holders, Oxford, so?
Looks like Surrey. Surrey section.
Surrey, OK. What do you feel about that for
Very
Cambridge?
happy. We'd have chosen Middlesex anyway.
You would have done? You sure?
Yeah.
Now, is it time for a Cambridge win?
Absolutely. It's been 15 years too long.
Yeah, and do you feel pretty confident?
We're fairly confident. We're going to go and perform as well as we can. Hopefully that'll be enough to win.
Right, that's Richard State, the Cambridge president. Now, Rupert Obholzer, what are your feelings going into the race today?
Looking forward to it. It's a nice day. Should be a good race.
And the critics are actually saying that it's going to be a very tight race. Is that how you feel about it this year?
I think it'll be a close race, yeah. But that's what we want.
All right. Well, the best of luck to you both.
Thank you.
May the best crew win, as we say in the game.
Thanks.
So there we are, the 137th boat race. It starts today at 1:20. Now with me is the man who's got to keep control over the boat race today, Mark Evans, who's the umpire. And Mark, you've been getting a bit of flack from the press. Now tell us about this. What's it all about?
Well, I think it's about being fair and decisive on the day. And I think that we have two very evenly matched crews. We have a terrific day for it. And I'm looking forward to a very fair and tough race.
Yeah, but why have the press been giving you some stick?
Well, they probably are drawing the conclusion that I haven't as much gray hair as some umpires have had in the past.
Now, don't get personal now. but you've changed the instruction at the beginning, haven't you, or something?
Yeah, I've tried to make it fair, and I've tried to make there less probability of a false start.
By saying different words, tell us about that.
By, instead of saying, "Are you ready?" and getting the crews to go on the R or the U or the ready before I say go, what I've said is that I will say attention, and once both coxswains' hands are down, I will say set, go.
Right, OK. Now, you've got two coxes here who rode in the reserve races last year, and they got in a bit of a tangle, and somebody, you can see a picture of it there, a bit of a clash. And what the Oxford cox was, or the Oxford boat, a reserve crew, was, ISIS, was thrown out of the race. Now, you think you might have trouble with these two boys this year, or have you had a word with them, or what?
I believe that the weight of precedent, and specifically last year, will weigh heavily on the coxswains without me raising it. I think there's an enormous pressure on the coxswains, but I hold both the coxswains and the strokes responsible for their course on the day. Yeah. So I'll be working very hard on the crews, and obviously the coxswains have to steer, but a large part of that responsibility is with the stroke as well.
Would you take on the responsibility of disqualifying a crew in the main boat race if it were needed, if it were necessary?
Des, I'll do what I have to.
You'll do what you have to. And of course you've rode in the race, what, twice or three times?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to row in the Oxford boats in '83 and '84.
All right. Mark, thank you very much. Best of luck. Let's hope it's a good race.
Thanks, Des.
And a tight one we want, too. Indeed. Nice, close one.
Okay.
Mark Evans, thank you very much indeed, the umpire for today's race.
So the first man in for Oxford is the barman, Rob Martin, up from last year's ISIS crew. Postgraduate student researching in physics at University College. 2 is the American Joseph Michaels, also from UNIV, where he's reading physics. 3 months short of his 27th birthday, he's the oldest man in this year's race. Sitting next to Michaels is the youngest man in the race, Peter Bridge, a freshman from Eton. He had an excellent record in schools rowing. Last year, he won a gold medal in Britain's junior coxless 4. 4 goes Oxford's second American, Hamish Hume, last year's captain of Yale. 13.5 stone, he's equipped not just for rowing, but also for his other sports, basketball and American football. At 6'2", perhaps a little bit small for basketball. Here is Cal McLennan, who takes the 5 seat to win a second blue, to add to the one he earned in 1989. Last year he rowed for ISIS. Come to 6, and an outstanding oarsman in every way, and not just because he's the heaviest man in either boat at 15 stone 2. Matthew Pinsent has twice been in bronze medal crews for Britain at the World Championships. Last year in the coxless pair with Steve Redgrave, 1989 in the coxed 4, and he was a gold medalist as a junior. Number 7 is Richard Young, who becomes only the second man to have rowed for both universities. While he was at Downing College, he was in the 1989 Goldie crew and then got his blue last year. Now he's at St John's and in the dark blue boat. Here's the president at the stroke, Rupert Obholzer, known to his friends as RJ. He was a gold medalist as a junior. For the last 2 years, he's been in the British Senior 8. They were third in the World Championships in 1989. Finally, Neil Chugani, the Cox, who dearly liked to atone for making a small piece of history last year when he steered ISIS to disqualification in the race against Goldie. Next on his list of ambitions is getting back to a normal diet, starting tonight. Her Royal Highness stays to see the Cambridge crew aboard. Bow. Dick Smith comes from Stafford, went to school at Shrewsbury, where they've turned out some good oarsmen over the years. Dick Smith was a Great Britain junior in 1987. Stroked the Goldie crew last year. Richard State at 2 is the Cambridge president, who also rode at 2 last year. He's the lightest man in the race at 11 stone 4, and last year represented Britain in the lightweight double sculls. 3, Max Justice, who follows his brother Nick into the Cambridge boat. Nick won his blue in 1989. Max has come to Sydney Sussex College as a postgraduate lawyer, having been captain of Boston University in the United States. Guy Pooley comes next. Bit of a beanpole, 6 feet 8, but only 13 stone 3. In other words, 7 inches taller, but 5 pounds lighter than Justice, who's sitting behind him. This is Pooley's 4th year in the Cambridge Blue Boat. There's a freshman at 5, Kieran Allen from King's Canterbury and Magdalen. He's had international experience, 2 years in the British junior squad, and then a place in the under-23 8 that won bronze medals at the World Championships. Number 6, David Gillard, comes from Bedford, went to Bedford Modern School, and thence to St Catherine's College, where he's reading natural science. In the number 7 seat, Nick Clary, who was a Great Britain junior last year, member of the crew that won gold medals in the Coxless 4s. Like Allen at 5, Clary is a freshman up at Jesus College from John Hampton Grammar School, High Wycombe. Adam Wright retains the stroke seat he occupied last year. He's the great example of the dividends Cambridge are reaping from bringing college rowing into the fold. Went up to Corpus Christi as virtually a novice, but the talent showed, and Cambridge have certainly enjoyed the benefit. Cox is Andrew Bracey. Won an early moral battle this year by weighing in a pound lighter than Neil Chugani, his opposite number for Oxford. Cambridge had to manage for a while earlier this year without their chief coach Mark Lees, who was struck by pneumonia. The Amateur Rowing Association released Penny Chuter, their former director of international rowing, so Cambridge were not short of expertise.